Ukraine obliterates Russia's T-90M force in Daetsk, delivering $120 million devastation. In one of the most decisive armored clashes of the war, Ukraine's Abrams Bradley kill chain shattered Russia's elite T-90M spearhead, wiped out more than $120 million in armored assets, and exposed how slow Russian forces have become against Ukraine's real-time drone-guided strikes. What unfolded was not just another frontline battle, it was a demonstration of how modern warfare is shifting towards speed, data, and precision. FPV drones, hidden Bradleys, and Leopard tanks all played critical roles in flipping the momentum and crushing Russia's advance. Now, let's go back to where today's operation began. Today at 7:05 AM, the front lines around Daetsk erupted with one of the most lopsided armored clashes of the year, as Ukrainian mechanized units destroyed a wave of Russian armored vehicles, including at least one T-90M main battle tank valued at $4.50 million, and pushed Russian forces back from key defensive lines. The total estimated Russian material loss from this sequence of engagements were estimated to exceed $120 million. Ukrainian commanders on the ground described the operation as a shift to armored warfare, because tanks no longer fought as isolated machines, but as fully integrated nodes in a real-time kill chain. M1 Abrams tanks, M2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, and small reconnaissance drones worked together to locate, strike, and collapse Russian positions that had held firm for weeks. This coordinated approach set the tone for the entire day because it allowed Ukrainian units to maintain initiative rather than planned assaults. By 8:10 AM, Ukrainian armored columns began advancing toward the Russian-held outskirts near the settlement of Pikrosovt in the Donetsk sector. This area had been heavily fortified by Russian troops, using concrete shelters, trench systems, and camouflaged firing posts covering open fields. Scouts equipped with drones hovered overhead at low altitudes, feeding live intelligence directly into Abrams fire control systems. The data helped crews track Russian movement inside bunkers and behind collapsed buildings, so the main assault force could advance without walking into ambush zones. Minutes later, Abrams tanks rolled forward across muddy terrain with their gas turbine engines producing a low mechanical rumble that echoed across the fields. As they moved, crews adjusted their targeting optics based on the drone feed. The first major strike came when an Abrams identified a Russian command building being used to coordinate machine gun and anti-tank teams. The tank fired two 120mm rounds in rapid succession. The shells hit the center of the structure and reduced it to rubble instantly, trapping Russian troops inside and disrupting local command and control. The explosion also created a thick dust cloud that blocked Russian gunners' lines of sight, protecting the advancing Ukrainian infantry who were moving behind the armor line. On the eastern flank, an M2 Bradley took position to sweep alleys and cut off Russian soldiers attempting to redeploy towards side trenches. Its 25mm Bushmaster chain gun fired controlled bursts across rooftops and windows, forcing enemy fighters to abandon their posts. Because the Bradley's lighter frame allowed it to pivot quickly around destroyed walls and debris, it backed the Abrams by clearing secondary threats that might have targeted the heavier tank from blind angles. Russian units returned fire with rifles and shoulder-launched rocket, but Ukrainian crews used synchronized movement to deny them any stable firing window. By 8:26 AM, the collapse of the Russian command post left troops scattered and disorganized, and Ukrainian forces exploited the opening immediately. Infantry teams moved behind the armored vehicles, entering buildings where isolated defenders were still holding ground. They cleared each section methodically, using grenades and suppressed fire in close quarters positions. Meanwhile, drones above continued relaying movement patterns, so commanders could redirect fire where needed without delay. This combination of armor, drones, and infantry created a fluid operational tempo because each action reinforced another. Russian units, unable to regroup, began withdrawing toward the village's far edges. Their retreat exposed additional supply routes running through the center, and Ukrainian observers flagged these for follow-up strikes. At 9:02 AM, 3 Bradley vehicles from the 47th Brigade launched a second push, accelerating up to approximately 60 km across open fields, while firing smoke screens to hide their movement. The smoke drifted across Russian trenches and blinded machine gun nests. Moving in tight formation, the vehicles navigated around mines and obstacles marked earlier by reconnaissance teams. Upon reaching the first row of houses, the Bradleys fired sustained bursts that punched through Russian barricades and shattered firing points. This rapid tempo forced Russian defenders to break formation because static positions could not survive continuous pressure from armored fire. Ukrainian infantry slipped behind the Bradleys to secure buildings room by room, using the armored vehicles as mobile cover. When a machine gun position tried to reopen fire from a railway embankment, a Bradley turned its turret and silenced it with several well-placed rounds. During the withdrawal phase of this assault, the Bradleys maintained speeds of 40 to 50 kilometers per h, while facing their turrets backward to protect retreating units. Their leapfrog pattern allowed each vehicle to cover the other as they pulled out, preventing Russian counterfire from regaining control. Defense analysts later estimated that the entire maneuver, attack, clear, and retreat, took just 4 minutes and 12 seconds, illustrating how speed now mattered more than. At 10:15 a.m., drone teams identified a hidden Russian ammunition bunker beneath a cluster of houses along the southern edge of Daetsk. They transmitted exact coordinates to nearby M777 howitzer batteries. The first shell hit the bunker entrance directly, triggering internal blasts that shot flames skyward like a volcanic eruption. Black smoke blanketed the neighborhood as secondary detonations ripped through the depot. Russian guards fled the area, and follow-up artillery shots ensured the site was completely neutralized. The depot's destruction was estimated at $18 million in munitions and equipment losses. As Russian defenses faltered, 2 Leopard 2 tanks moved out from concealed tree lines to exploit the disarray. They advanced in a coordinated line, scanning for remaining strongpoints. One Leopard was hit by a concealed anti-tank gun, but its automatic fire suppression system activated instantly, dousing flames with foam and allowing the crew to reverse safely. This incident illustrated crew survivability design features common to Western MBTs, because design choices prioritized crew protection during internal blasts. The second Leopard opened fire at a Russian command hut using APFSDS rounds that penetrated the roof and collapsed the building inward. The attack wiped out radios, maps, and senior officers still coordinating isolated pockets of resistance. Ukrainian troops rushed in behind the tank to secure the area and discovered over 40 tons of unexploded Russian shells, providing a significant supply boost. By noon, Russian units across the sector were attempting to regroup for a counterattack, but Ukraine's FPV drone operators were already in position. Pilots guided explosive-laden drones toward exposed Russian armor, especially the T-90M tanks moving toward Chasiv Yar. One FPV drone struck the T-90M side armor, igniting fuel lines and disabling the vehicle. Another drone disabled a second tank through a sequence of impacts, first the engine, then the cabin, and finally the turret, triggering an internal ammunition detonation that ejected the turret. Russian support teams hesitated to assist the damaged tanks because drones were still circling overhead. This hesitation stalled follow-on movement and left them vulnerable to subsequent Ukrainian artillery strikes. As Russian units tried to push forward again near a forest edge, one tank rolled into a Ukrainian minefield and detonated a buried charge that set off the tank's floor-stored ammunition. The blast split the hull, injuring nearby soldiers and blocking the entire route for the rest of the Russian column. Through the afternoon, these engagements underscored a growing strategic truth. Ukrainian forces were now using speed, intelligence, and distributed weapons systems to outmaneuver Russia's heavier but slower armored units. The battle no longer centered on which side had more tanks, but on which side could act faster within a shrinking decision window. At 2:40 p.m., Ukrainian units near Avdiivka executed another decisive tactical move when a Bradley ambushed a Russian tank from inside a ruined building. The Bradley remained hidden until the Russian tank turned its side armor while repositioning. The Bradley's 25mm gun opened fire at close range, triggering an internal detonation that ejected the turret. Ukrainian infantry immediately used the opening to evacuate pinned soldiers and reorganize defensive lines. Drone footage later revealed that this Bradley traveled only 300 meters during the engagement, yet its contribution shifted control of the entire block. This emphasized how even small armored maneuvers could generate outsized effects when paired with real-time intelligence. Throughout the day, Russian forces attempted to regroup, but Ukrainian countermeasures, tank fire, drones, and infantry coordination kept them from launching any effective push. By evening, Ukrainian units held the contested villages, disrupted Russian supply flows, and collected abandoned rifles, ammo crates, and destroyed vehicle remnants left behind during Russia's retreat. As the fighting subsided, analysts noted that Russia had lost well over $120 million in tanks, ammunition, and armored vehicles in a single operational cycle. The losses further widened Ukraine's advantage in the Daetsk sector because Russian forces face slower T-90M replacement timelines relative to Ukraine's current operational tempo of combined arms warfare. Today's engagements reinforced a broader transformation taking place across the front, as tanks became data-driven strike nodes within a high-speed combat network. Ukrainian crews used drones for intelligence, artillery for shaping the battlefield, and armored vehicles for decisive punches. The interplay of these systems allowed Ukrainian forces to overwhelm Russian defenses, protect vulnerable infantry, and exploit every opening created in the chaos. But this shift also brought a warning. Russia was already adapting by increasing the use of electronic jammers, reinforcing armor plates, and deploying denser anti-drone grids to slow Ukraine's kill chain. The battlefield had become a race between speed and mass. Each Ukrainian innovation forced a Russian response, and each Russian countermeasure demanded a faster Ukrainian adjustment. Analysts assess the central question going forward is, will the future of this war be decided by speed and precision, or by sheer mass and firepower? And how long can Ukraine maintain its edge before Russia evolves again? Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comment section below.